A lot of copper, a lot of bronze, and a lot of affordable keys are on this week's list. We're back, YouTube. What is going on? I'm your host, Lawrence, over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles. And like always, welcome back to the Hot 10 Comics of the Week breakdown. Now, if you aren't familiar with what I do here in this video, I take the 10 hottest comics according to the Key Collector app, and I break them down for everyone out there. So I'll let you know which books I'm buying at which prices and which I'm staying away from. But like always, I remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, do yourself a favor, hit that sub button so you don't miss a video, smash the like button for me, and like always, let's get into this week's breakdown. Starting us off this week at number 10 is a copy of Saga of Swamp Thing number 37 and the first appearance of John Constantine. And last week we had a CGC 9.8 selling for a whopping $1,475, up 8% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.2 sale for $295, up another 6% over the average. Now, if you're a big Constantine fan, you love Swamp Thing, you love DC, I think this book is a must-own. For me, I'm not a giant fan, so I don't want to spend $1,500 on a 9.8. Hell, I don't even want to spend $300 on a 9.2. But it is an important character, so if you follow him, do yourself a favor, pick up this book. Back on the list at number 9 this week is a copy of Uncanny X-Men number 266 and the second appearance of Gambit. But also, this is his first cover appearance and what I call the money book. And last week, we had a CGC 9.6 selling for only $265, up 11% over the average. Now, I don't think this is a bad price for a 9.6. I've said this before, but I do think you can have around the same grade for $150 for this grade key. So to me, instead of buying a 9.6, unless you think it's a 9.8 contender, I'm staying away from this one. I'd rather own a raw copy. After a short hiatus, at number 8 this week is a copy of Voltron number 1 and the first appearance of Voltron in US Comics. And last week, we had a CGC 9.8 selling for $450, up a crazy 75% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.6 sale for only $169, up another 47% over the average. These are some monster jumps, and there are rumors out there right now that's saying that Henry Cavill is attached to a new Voltron film. I have no idea if that is just rumor or if it is fact. Regardless, I don't want to pay these prices for this book. I love Voltron, and I always tell you, I'd rather own some of the vintage toys. To me, that is a better way to go when we're talking about Voltron. At the 7th spot this week is some Bronze Age goodness. It is a copy of Uncanny X-Men number 94 and the second team appearance of the new X-Men team. This is also the 4th appearance of Wolverine. And last week we had a monster sale, a CGC 9.8 selling for a whopping $55,200, up an insane 52% over the average. We also had a CGC 7.0 sale for only $650, up 8% over the average. Now, I'm going to say this to you guys. If I want to buy an X-Men key, I'd rather own a true first appearance, Giant Size X-Men 1. To me, that is a better buy if you're talking first X-Men appearances. But hey, if you want to own this book, I'm all for it. Great Bronze Age key. I just do not want to overpay for it. I think a 7.0 for $650 might be a tad high. You could probably find a better deal out there. But yes, I am a buyer of this book. Coming in at number 6 this week is a copy of Star Wars number 1 and the first appearance of most of the OG Star Wars characters. And last week we had a CGC 9.4 selling for $589, but up again another 19% over the average. Then we had a lowly CGC 8.0, I'm saying that sarcastically of course, for $275, up 19% over the average. I say this all the time when this book is on this list. If you're a big Star Wars fan, it is a must own. I do not think you have to own a super high grade copy of it. To me, I'd rather just get a raw copy. I do enjoy Star Wars. I just don't want to spend a lot of money on this comic. But hey, if you're a big Star Wars fan, it is a must own. Like I said, get yourself a copy that you're going to be happy with in your collection for the long term. Back on the list at number 5, and I think everything symbiote related right now is super hot. It is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 252 and the first appearance of the black symbiote costume in the Amazing Spider-Man run. And last week we had another monster sale, a CGC 9.8 newsstand copy selling for $1,700, up 19% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.2 newsstand copy selling for $280, up a crazy 33% over the average. So I think, yes, the symbiote stuff is really being overdone right here. You know, I love this book. You know, I definitely want to own it. Now, you guys know I'm not a huge newsstand collector, but I do actually own a 9.2 newsstand copy of this book that I bought way back when. So yes, this book can be had for cheap. I don't think necessarily you need to pay up to own this one. At the 4th spot this week is some more Spider-Man goodness. It is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 300 and the first full appearance of Venom.
We are Venom.
And last week, we finally got another CGC 9.8 sale. This one going for $2,900, but only up 1% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.4 sale for $700, up 14% over the average. You guys know I grew up with Copper Ray's books. I love Spider-Man. I enjoy Venom. With that said, I still think this book is on its way down. So many copies out there can still be had, whether they're graded or raw. We all know this is the most graded book by CGC ever. With that said, get your copy. I do love this book. It must be owned. With that said, buy the copy you want to own in your collection for the long term and stick to it. This book is still going down. Coming in at the 3 spot this week is What Else? It is a copy of Incredible Hulk number 340 and this iconic cover by Todd McFarlane. And last week we had another CGC 9.8 selling for $1,040, up 5% over the average. Then we had a CGC 9.0 sale for $246, but get this, still up another 24% over the average. I'm going to say ditto to every other video I've done for the past year about this book. Get yourself a raw copy, even if you want to still submit it to CGC yourself and wait a year to get it back. I still think it's going to be a better buy than buying this one graded and paying up for it. Climbing its way to number 2 this week is a copy of Batman number 251 and this iconic cover by the late great Neil Adams. This is also the issue where the Joker is reborn as a homicidal maniac.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence?
And last week, we had a CGC 8.0 selling for $820, up 5% over the average. Then we had a CGC 6.5 sale for only $468, up another 5% over the average. You guys know I absolutely love this book. One of my best Joker covers from the Bronze Age, this one and Batman 227. I want to own them both, but I do want to own them for a deal. Again, still a lot of raw copies out there. You can get good deals. I've started to see the hype die down with this book and 227. So yes, 100% I want to own this book. It's up to you whether to decide you want to get a raw copy or a graded copy. Sometimes you get a better deal on the raw side, but other than that, I'm always a buyer. And finally, reclaiming its spot at the top this week is a copy of Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 8 and the origin of the black symbiote costume. And last week, we had a CGC 9.8 selling for $525, up 6% over the average. You guys know I love this book. I've talked about it before. I don't want to pay over $500 for a 9.8. With that said, a couple of weeks ago, I told you $523. Go ahead and just buy it if you want to own the book in a 9.8. Other than that, I want to own this book raw if I can find a great deal on it where the colors are bright, beautiful pink and orange. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Another great list here from the Key Collector app. With that said, it is now time for my best buy of the week. And to me, a little tough between Batman 251, Uncanny X-Men 266, X-Men number 94, ASM 252, but I'm going with Batman number 251. This classic cover, a great key, an important key in Batman and Joker history. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.